Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are diving into a report from Pharma-Bio Serv, and trust me, the voting results alone are more suspenseful than your average reality show finale. Someone's getting voted off the island corporate style. Pharma-Bio Serv just had their annual meeting where shareholders got to vote on important stuff like who gets to be on the board, who audits the books, and how much the top executives get paid. We'll break down who won, who lost, and what it all means for the future of the company. And of course, we'll quickly check out the financial numbers to see how they're doing. But before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below for more in-depth discussions. Alright, let's get into it. On May 15, 2025, Pharma-Bio Serv held its annual meeting where shareholders got to vote on key issues. Let's see what happened. First up, the election of directors. Howard Spendell was elected as a Class 3 director, meaning he'll be around until the 2028 meeting. He got 7,265,970 votes against, but they do show that some shareholders weren't completely thrilled. Importantly, over 3 million broker non-votes happened. This means a lot of shares held by brokers weren't voted on this particular issue because the broker didn't receive instructions from the beneficial owner. Next, shareholders voted on whether to approve Crowe PRPSC as the company's independent accounting firm for the fiscal year ending in October 2025. This is pretty standard stuff and it almost always passes. And it did with a landslide victory, 12,887 votes for and a tiny 1,701 against. Seems like everyone's happy with the accountants. Now, let's get to the juicy part, executive compensation or say on pay. This is where shareholders get to give their opinion on how much the top bosses are getting paid. The vote is non-binding, which means the company doesn't have to listen, but it's a good way to gauge shareholder sentiment. In this case, 8,972 voted in favor of the compensation packages, but 65,855 abstained. So it passed, but there was some notable resistance. Again, there were over 3 million broker non-votes on this proposal, which could have swayed the outcome further if those shares had been voted. Finally, shareholders voted on how often they should get to vote on executive pay in the future. The options were every 1 year, every 2 years, or every 3 years. The winner, every 3 years, with 6,646 votes on unsubstantial 747,242,421 votes. 1 year got 2,242,246 votes and a substantial 2,421 votes. 1 year got 2,232,421 votes. 1 year got 2,246 votes and a substantial 747,201 abstained. The company decided to go with the majority vote and will hold this advisory vote every 3 years. This is important because it shows how much power shareholders really have. Even though the votes are advisory, the company is often sensitive to what shareholders want. The report was signed on May 16, 2025 by Pedro J. Lasanta, Chief Financial Officer, Vice President, Finance and Administration and Secretary. This confirms that the information provided is accurate and that the company stands behind it. Now, what does all of this mean? Well, it looks like Pharma-Bio Serv had a pretty standard annual meeting. No major upsets, no dramatic changes. However, the significant number of broker non-votes is something to keep an eye on. It could indicate a lack of engagement from some shareholders, which could be a problem down the road if more contentious issues come up. The vote on executive compensation also shows that there's some concern among shareholders about how much the top executives are making. I think Pharma-Bio Serv seems to be in a stable position, but they need to work on engaging their shareholders more effectively. Otherwise, they could face more resistance in the future, especially when it comes to things like executive pay. The company appears to be following corporate governance best practices by allowing votes and listening to the advisory votes. Alright, that's our breakdown of Pharma-Bio Serv's latest filing. What's your take on these voting results and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching and see you next time.